Hello. Back from another counter protest. Fascists were in Aberdeen again, spouting lies and hatred, just screaming the worst profanities under the sun through megaphones, accusing all of us of all the counter protests of being paedophiles and enabling sex trafficking, all sorts of absolutely unhinged things. Just absolutely unhinged. Like, I don't get where that comes from. Like, everything they're saying is completely wrong. It's completely and utterly awful. If any asylum seeker comes here and commits crimes or hurts anybody, and those people should be denied asylum and thrown out of the country, of course they should. Nobody, nobody is at all is saying they shouldn't be. Like, if you're coming here to commit crimes, we don't want you. But 99.9% of refugees are just desperate people trying to escape desperate situations. And you just can't tar them all with the same brush. One's bad, so they're all bad. I mean, we were in Aberdeen, a city of, I don't know, a million people, whatever it is. Some of them are criminals. Does that mean that we should wall off Aberdeen and, you know, tell them that they're not welcome in our country? I mean, it doesn't. It's not logical. It doesn't make sense. So, yeah, I drove about an hour and a half each way to get screamed at by fascists today. As such, I'm a little bit tired. It's not a fun way to spend an afternoon. It was quite a different environment from last time, though. They were at a different place over by the uni. I don't know exactly why it was there. Apparently, they've been there before. I think there may be. I think there may be migrants housed, possibly in some of their premises. It may be that the university. I know they've targeted universities before for, offering night classes. To help immigrants learn English and support refugees to help them to kind of navigate their way. And what's the problem with that? So, well, whatever it was that was really making these guys froth. Anyway, that's how it was. We were in a street. It was kind of a junction of a street. We were at one side, and effectively, we had the road was about 5 meters wide. There were two barriers in front of us, with three police officers stationed staring straight at us, and then about 20 meters, and then two more sets of barriers before the fascists, and then they had police staring them down as well. I don't know why they thought that they needed to have police watch our side constantly. We were mostly sharing donuts and just laughing at the absolute fools on the other side. But yeah, they have to be shown to be even. Although there's such a thing as in UK law, there's a thing called the Police and Criminal Evidence Act 1984. Which has various sections in it, but public order offences are Section 5, Section 4, and Section 4A. Section 5 being kind of generic screaming obscenities across the area. The criteria for it to be a crime is that people need to be harassed, alarmed, or intimidated. And I think it's fair to say that, not us because we knew what was coming on, but there were people living in the houses on either side of the road, that they were being harassed and intimidated, and other people. Like, we could see when people, because we were stuck to our side, we could see other, just locals on the other side getting shouted at. Every now and then their side all vanished because they'd gone off to harass somebody. But the police, of course, didn't do anything about that. It is in fact breaking the law, it is a Section 5 public order offence. In fact, they were arguably Section 4 because Section 4 is targeted. There's nuance. I forget the difference between 4A. I was a cop a long time ago. But the police just did nothing. And I do understand the logic to some degree. Because, if you've got a busy situation, arresting somebody, takes 2 officers out the game for a couple of hours. And a vehicle, which there has to be a high bar for that action to be taken to take officers out of the game. But there were more police than their side. There were literally more police officers than fascists, which was amazing. And there were more of us than either of them. We had about 30, the fascists had about 12. And I don't even think they had any locals. I don't think anybody had come to listen. As far as we could see, it was just, they were just taking turns to grab the microphone and spread hate at each other. There was the usual other stuff thrown in, transphobia, bigotry of all sorts. It was just absolute madness. But then they were trying to blast music at us, I guess, to put us off or drown us out. We weren't chanting. We didn't have any sound of our own. We were just there to say, no, you're not going to come here and be unchallenged in your venom. So they had this speaker and they were blasting music at us. But first of all, it was really funny because it was clearly somebody's Spotify account because it kept having adverts. Kept getting the Domino's Pizza advert come up. But then it was things like Brothers in Arms by Dire Straits, Talking About a Revolution by Tracy Chapman. Like, the irony impairment of these people. Like, Mark Knopfler, Tracy Chapman, massive liberals and very good people. I know Mark Knopfler's had some... Well, I know that there's a little bit of an asterisk next to Mark Knopfler, but he has never, ever indicated that he would align himself with the purveyors of hatred. And I mean, Tracy Chapman, come on, she's a black female singer of protest music. There is one side of that protest she would have been at, and it would not have been theirs. So I just think it's all a bit odd. So that was my first counter-protest of the year. I'm sure there'll be more. I have to try and be the person I want to be, and take action when I can take action, and stand up, and at least be able to say in 20 years' time, for better or worse, I tried. I was there. I said no. I said this isn't us. This isn't Scotland. What you're doing is wrong. And, well, as I said, there was a lot of good people there with me. So, it doesn't take it out of you, though. Don't know if anyone's ever had experience of just having people just spit, just... if the police weren't there, these people would definitely have just come and tried to beat us up because we dared to not be massive racists. It's madness. So, tonight I shall be